for 9-to-1 balance, and I was trying to bring it up myself here real quick, and I haven't found it yet. But he gives some really good recommendations on some links to choose depending on what band you want to operate on. And in my particular case, I think mine is 124 and a half feet. 124 feet 6 inches is what I put on mine. And what I use is the shield on my coax feed line as the counterpoise. So I attach the ballon at the wire, of course, and then run the wire up in the tops of the trees, and then I elevate about 40 to 50 feet of the feed line coax about 3 feet off the ground. He recommends that as well. And it works very, very well. It works amazingly well. I never would have thought a single wire in-fed antenna could work as well as that one. But if you go to the ballondesigns.com, Ballon Designs, all one word, .com, and look up the 9-to-1 ballons and look for the wire length recommendations, I think you'll find exactly what he needs, depending on what frequencies he wants to operate on. KG5FQJ, back to net control. Thank you for that very much. First let's go back to David and see if that's helpful, and then we'll ask someone else and see if there's someone else that may, have some more answer off the top of their head. David?
Yeah, this is Kilo 5 Whiskey Sierra Alpha, David. I did find Ballon Designs website, ballondesigns with an S.com, and I'll poke around in there. So thank you for that tip, and I'll wait to see if I get any other. I got the one, I believe I heard 124 and a half, so I'm going to jot that number down for research. And I'm still listening, so it's Kilo Golf 5 Whiskey Sierra Alpha, over to net.
I know just this week, someone who is a regular listener of this net, I'm not going to throw out his name if he doesn't want to volunteer, but has just put up an invis that was apparently functioning quite well, that's doing a good job, and which is a wire. It's of course it's inverted V-shape, but it's similar to what you're describing. So let's I don't know if anybody wants to talk about that or not, but anybody else that has a comment about long wire antennas, come down with your call sign. Okay, thank you very much. Well, David, hopefully that will solve your issues, and maybe a little bit later on in this net, we may get a chance to ask that same thing again, or there may be some other participants that might want to respond. Would that be okay, David?
Lee, and thank you very much. I actually found the page hidden on the website that shows all the different recommended links for 9-to-1 so I'm going to start researching from here. So I think that, I didn't catch the call time, but I want to thank that radio operator very much, and I'll do my research from here, and if anybody else pops in, great, but I got a great start. So thank you very much for letting me slide in, Lee. And David, out in Alvord, Texas, Kilo Golf 5 Whiskey Sierra Alpha, clear.
Thank you so much. I might mention too here that any of you that have computers handy, you might want to keep them handy. And we have a surprise today that's going to be it's going to have some streaming on video as the demonstration. Plus, Heath, KC5TSU, is going to tell us all about Winlink. You could call it Winlink for the beginner, or actually
there's going to be some more advanced stuff in there too, so it should be fun for everyone. But first, let me go back to general check-in here. Is there anyone else that would like to tell us what's going on in your life, or ask questions, or anything before we start the presentation? Anyone? Come to your call sign.
Whiskey Delta Zero, Hotel United.
There's a call that does not, I don't recognize. Hotel United, HHU. You're sounding really good, by the way. Please, welcome to the net.
Thank you, Lee. Whiskey Delta Zero, Hotel United. The handle here is Dave, and I'm in Denton. And last weekend was the British Amateur Radio Teledata Group radio teletype contest. And since the radio that I have has built-in software to decode radio teletype, I decided to bring it up and listen and watch, and I didn't participate, but it was pretty cool. There's radio teletype folks were having a lot of fun. WD0HHU, again, the handle here is Dave and Denton, over.
Dave and Denton, thank you so very much again for being here on the net. And I kind of got lost here. I got a phone call in the middle of your talking, and man, I'm not sure what to say. I want to apologize to you, but I also, that was my brother in South Carolina, and it could have been really important. I had to kind of break away for a moment, so I hope you understand.
QSL, and as I say, monitored a radio teletype contest last Saturday and Sunday, and was a lot of fun, and it makes me eventually want to get on radio teletype. I have a radio that will decode radio teletype, and so I did watch and listen, and there was just a bunch of people on doing radio teletype. WD0HHU.
Thank you very, very much. I'm sorry I made you repeat that, too. I'm sure everyone else on the net has caught it the first time, and apologize to them for making you hear it twice. But anyway, that's really good news. I'm scratching my head here thinking, I can decode MIDI. I wonder why I don't do that. It didn't occur to me to peruse around listening to that. So anyway, thank you. You planted a seed in my mind.
Next year, when the radio teletype contest, it's the British Amateur Radio Teledata Group, and I think they do 2 a year. And I'm definitely going to figure out how to transmit. So anyway, this is WD0HHU is clear.
KC5.
Thank you again. Is there anyone else, by the way, that has done something thrilling that you'd love to share with us, or something you want us to know, or perhaps something you need to know that you'd like to ask? Anyone? Come to your call sign. Okay. Let us do another drum roll, please. It's time to get to the fun-filled afternoon that I promised you. Let me call Keith, KC5TSU. Keith, are you where you can come to the radio?
Weather conditions. Sunny temperature.
I'm actually very good. very much. I'm looking forward to what you plan to do today. And let me say too that I saw a text here about the YouTube channel. Is that well? I'll just let you go take it over from here. Let me just tell the entire group here what we plan to do. Heath is going to give a presentation on Winlink, and he'll tell you all about what it's going to be like and what level of expertise you need to be to pay attention. And then he'll just go ahead and run to that for a while. He'll take questions and answers and that sort of thing. I think he's planning a video demonstration too, that if you have a computer handy, you can pull it up and look. We plan to have the audio is going to be on radio only. So whether you have I don't know, Heath will tell us whether it's going to be Zoom or YouTube channel or some other meeting program, but I'll let him run that and do it however he wants to do. And depending on how long it goes or whatever, he may just finish out the net, or if he wants to turn it back to me, I will be here. So Heath, however you want to handle it, whatever you'd like to do. Number one, thank you very much for doing this, and we're all looking forward to it, I'm sure. This is Lee, K5WXR, turning the net over to Heath, KC5TSU.
All right, that should have just fixed the audio problem on the YouTube for those who are watching. Um, so, with that said, Winlink Express is going to be the main client software for Windows-based computers. There are tons of them out there for various operating systems. There's some for Mac, there's some for Raspberry Pi, there's some for Linux. I think there's one now for Android. But we're going to go over Winlink Express. Winlink Express is the official Winlink client software. And when you first set up Winlink, it's going to ask you some very basic information: your call sign, where you're located, your grid location, and if you don't know your grid location, get on Google and search for ham radio grid location lookup, and you'll find websites where you can punch in your address and get your grid location. Once you've done that, you'll get to the main window of Winlink Express, which looks very similar to a very old email client system. Up in the upper toolbar at the very top, there's a button that says Open Session with a drop down.
KC5TSU.
You're going to get several choices on there. Sorry, my All-Star keeps dropping me there. You're going to get several choices there. Packet Winlink, Telnet Winlink, Vera Winlink, etc., etc. We're going to start with Packet. I'm sorry, I apologize. We're going to start with Telnet. When you open up a Telnet Winlink session, it's going to be very Spartan. And that's because there's really nothing to configure. You can go into the settings menu and you can manually specify which CMS server you want to connect to. You can also manually specify a tri-mode relay station if you want to use that instead, and we'll get into tri-mode a little later. You can also set your auto connection time, how often you want Winlink to check messages for you on your behalf. When there's not an emergency situation and you're not expecting critical messages, you might leave this at something low. I mean, we don't pass a lot of Winlink traffic in a regular basis, so a couple of hours between checks is no big deal. This is not your primary email address where you're expecting messages every 5 minutes. We don't want to overwhelm the servers. So what will happen is once you've opened that Telnet Winlink session, you'll simply click Start up at the top. And your computer, without the use of a radio, will reach out directly to those CMS stations and check and see if you've got any messages waiting for you, as well as send any messages on your behalf. Once that's completed, you can leave it open, and if you see on mine, it has an auto connect countdown. It's going to auto connect again in 6 hours, but we're going to go ahead and just exit out of this one for right now. I've also noticed here that if I click outside of my All-Star window, it disconnects my transmit, so I may key and unkey quite a bit here shortly. I apologize. The basics of sending a message. Very straightforward, similar to email. There's a new message icon up in the corner. Once that pops up, it's very similar to basic email systems. The difference is you have two choices here. In the two fields, you can you can type somebody's call sign in directly. So if you wanted to send me a message, for example, you could just type KC5TSU. If you wanted to send an email to somebody who is on the internet, you can type out their full email address. Keith.garner1@gmail.com or CQ@kc5tsu.net. past that, it's very basic, like most email systems. You set a subject, you can do a file attachment, type out your message. With the file attachments, keep in mind that some people may be transmitting these over packet radio, and packet radio is extremely slow, especially if we end up using HF radio. So you want to keep your attachments small. There's ways to do that. One of the training documents that's used a lot is a list of medications. It's a spreadsheet that has a lot of medications, and each of these medications has like 30 something letters in their name, and each name is just a few letters off of each other. And I salute the CW operator who can send that. I also salute the CW operator who can receive that. But fact of the matter is that there's not many out there, and we can't rely on that. So being able to send complex spreadsheets with lists like that is of critical importance. Inside of most document softwares, there is a way to save in a stripped down format. Let me pull that up real quick. So if you go into your Office type program and you choose to do a save as, there's usually a save as type. There's generally a way to save it in some sort of text format, be it CSV or tab separated. That's going to strip out a considerable amount of header information and just junk that Excel puts in there. Things like fonts and bolding and underlining and things like that are not really critical to the message, and that really does strip down the size of that message and lets you pass it easily over these links. You'll also notice at the top of Winlink, when you enter a new message, you have the option of selecting a template. This is where you're going to find most of your ICS forms, as well as your Red Cross forms, your ARRL radiograms, and very similar messages. Let me go ahead and open one of those up right now. So for those of you watching along from home, you can see this ICS 214 log that opened up. And what you can do is you can actually fill this form out directly on the screen. And when you're finished, down here on submit, you can click submit. It will strip out all of the formatting and extra junk data out of this and place it into the message. And if somebody tries to view it in Winlink when they've received it, it's smart enough to place all the appropriate information back into it to make it look like an appropriate ICS 214 form. And then they're able to print it out and submit it to whatever disaster management they're handling. Every Wednesday we do a net Winlink Wednesday. Under general forms, you'll see one that says Winlink check-in. Express check-in for Winlink net. Fill out this form. Date and time that this is a net. How you connected, whether VHF, UHF, 220, HF, packet, telnet, etc. Send to. That's usually John's call sign. KF5VO. And location, your location, your grid if you know it, and generally he asks a question of the week and you can place that down in the comments below. Once you've got that all filled out and click submit, it'll go to your outbox. Once it's sitting in your outbox, we'll need to initiate a session to deliver that message. They don't necessarily send immediately. They sit in your outbox until you initiate a session. This way you can send them in large batches. So for you, those of you who do not have a radio interface to your Winlink set up yet, you can simply choose, like I said, Telnet session, and that's going to connect you directly over the internet to the CMS servers and let you send those messages off. And that will let you participate in Winlink Wednesday. That will let you get some skills down, and using this software and keeping it updated. The software will prompt you when there's an update, but if you don't use it, you don't get to update it. Keeps your skills fresh and keeps your skills going. Later on, when you're ready to attach a radio, it's pretty straightforward. And give me one moment here, and I'm going to pause for just a moment, let the repeater cool down for just a second while I pull up another screen, and I'll go ahead and, if anybody's got any questions up to this point, feel free to ask now.
KC5TSU.
Okay, basics of computer interfacing. There's plenty of radios out there that have built-in audio interfaces. For today's example, I'm going to be using a Yaesu 991. You don't have to have a 991. There's plenty of radios out there that have them. The ICOM 7100 has one, the ICOM 7200, the ICOM 7300. There's a lot of radios out there that have built-in audio interfaces. If you don't have an audio interface, don't fret. Signal links are relatively inexpensive. They're extremely easy to set up. They make them for every single radio you can imagine. Also, once you've purchased one, they can be changed by radio type by just buying a different connector cable for them. Unfortunately, at this time, due to the global chip shortage, signal links are a little hard to get your hands on. But if you look out there, you can find them every now and then. But I suspect we'll get them back again. But the only difference in this demo that we're going to do between a signal link and this 991 is that signal link does not require push to talk. Signal link is operated in Vox and has a very fast Vox switching that allows it to do that. For the 991, we're not going to use Vox. We're going to go ahead and use a push to talk setup. So what you're going to do is you're going to download a program called Direwolf. And Direwolf is going to act as your TNC. It's going to act as your modem, basically. It's going to take those squeaks and squawks and turn them into something useful. Direwolf, out of the box, almost works. There's just a very few small things we need to change when we first launch it. I've gone ahead and backed up my configuration on this box, so we're going to be looking at a brand new blank Direwolf. So the first thing we're going to do when we go to Direwolf, we're going to launch it without any configuration on it. And that is going to give us a list of our audio devices. So for those of y'all following along at home, fixing to pull that up here so y'all can see what it looks like. You will notice that I have a lot of audio devices. I do a lot of AV work on this computer. I've actually renamed the USB audio codec devices in the control panel on this computer to something a little more descriptive. And you can see if you're following on the screen at home, under audio input devices, I've got one, this number 9 here, listed as 991A, a USB audio codec. And my output devices as well, listed as number 6, 991A. So what I need to do is I need to find some wording that is unique to both of those. And for this one, I'm going to use the wording 991A. If this is the only USB audio device connected to your computer, you can simply use USB. If you need to specify specifically the device number, you can do that as well. You'll notice I have on here like line 2, line 4, line 3. You can use the word line 3. Whatever you need to do to be unique enough that Direwolf knows which one of these you're going to be talking about here in a moment. So I'm going to use the words 991A. So we'll close this back out. And we're going to take a look at direwolf.conf. Okay, direwolf.conf. Go ahead and open it up in a text editing software. And down here, we've got this first section here where it asks you what device would you like to use. And you have your choice if you can tell it, I want to use based on the straight device numbers, or I want to use it based on a wording. It even gives you an example. To use the one above that's USB, use the word USB. I'm going to use 991 because that's the only thing out there. Then we're going to scroll down a little bit here. And you're going to find a section that says My Call. And it's going to default to N0CALL. You're going to replace that with your call sign. As you scroll down, there's some different options here for the different things that it can decode. If you've got the newer versions of Direwolf, you can decode emergency alert system. You can do low speed, high speed. You can do all kinds of stuff. We're going to leave it on the default 1200 baud. And because we're using a 991A, we're going to need to do push to talk. We're not going to be able to do Vox. So this first line right here, push to talk, COM1 RTS, that's commented out, that's what we want. But we know that on our computer, the 991's port is, on mine, is COM6. All right, I've got that set. We're good there. The other thing you'll notice down here, if you scroll down, KISS port 8001. Something to keep in mind, and this is something that really catches a lot of people. Direwolf defaults its KISS port to 8001. Winlink Express defaults its KISS port to 8100. So we will need to change that in the Winlink setup. Or you can change it here. I just prefer to change it in the Winlink setup. There's also some options down here if you want to really get into the deep dives of Direwolf. You can become a digipeater. You can hook up a GPS and do APRS. You can do iGating. There's really a lot of stuff that Direwolf can do that we're not really going to cover today, but is an extremely powerful piece of software. But we've got our basics changed. So we've got up here at the top again, we've got our device set. We've got our push to talk set, and we've got our call sign set, and that's really all that we basically need. So we're going to go ahead and save this file. Okay, now we're going to be able to go back over to Winlink Express, and we're going to tell it that we're going to open a packet session. So let me open that real quick. Then once we're inside the packet session, you're going to want to click Settings. And you're going to set the TNC type to KISS. And serial port, we're going to change that to TCP. And down here where it says TCP IP host port, that's that spot we were talking about where it defaults to 8100. Make sure you change that to 8001 to match Direwolf. Everything else you should be able to leave the same. And one last step I forgot. We need to launch Direwolf. So we'll go back over. For those of y'all following the video at home, you'll notice that Direwolf picked our 991s, and it said it's ready to accept traffic on 8001. So we click update, it's going to initialize the host, and there we go. You can go up here to channel selection, and it's going to give you a list of channels that are near you. That was important at the very beginning when you listed your grid locator, as that's how it determines what's near you. For this example, we chose the EOC, KD5 EOC 10, and I'm going to go ahead and click start.
KC5TSU.
And one of the nice things about Direwolf is in the background you can actually see the actual packet data that's moving back and forth. So we've successfully connected to the EOC. We can see our audio levels and everything down here. And it's going to do its thing. It's checked. It's seen that I've got no new messages. And it went ahead and sent a disconnect request. And we've disconnected. So guys, it's really that simple. It's really straightforward to get Winlink going, both without a radio as well as simply using it with a radio with an audio interface. I'm going to go ahead and open it up for questions for a few minutes, and then we can talk about some of the more advanced Winlink topics. Okay, well, again, this is KC5TSU for the Digitally Speaking Net on Sundays on the Dakar repeater 146.92. And does anybody have any questions at all? One last chance before we move on to the next part of this topic.
This is 5-6 Yankee Charlie. This is 325 202 dead in the county.
Go ahead, sir. Do you have a question?
Anyway, does anybody record this or have this on YouTube or something that we could all watch this on or listen to this on? I missed part of the presentation.
Yep. I mentioned at the beginning, I honestly should have mentioned it several times because we do have people come and go. If you go to YouTube and search for my call sign, Kilo Charlie 5 Tango Sierra Uniform, you'll see my channel. Look for the picture of me with a beard. If you click into that channel, you'll see some videos. One of them will be listed as live now and listed as the Digitally Speaking Net, and you'll be able to follow along with this. Once this is over, it will remain up on the YouTube channel. So if anybody wants to, anybody out driving around and wants to watch the visuals later, you're more than welcome to.
My wife sent me a pen and a paper here.
Okay. Once again, the YouTube channel, just go to YouTube and search for Kilo Charlie 5 Tango Sierra Uniform. That's KC5TSU. And you should see one that's the most recent one, says digitally speaking net, and it should currently be listed as live if you want to follow along with the visuals there. What I've done is I've gone ahead and remoted into my RMS station, and this RMS station is running what is called tri-mode relay, and this is where RMS gets really interesting. So RMS is a really redundant system. Like I said earlier, there's CMSs all over the world. And the idea is that if there's some sort of disaster, whether it's some sort of internet outage or a terrorist attack or fire, or, for example, the one we just had, widespread frost with a loss of infrastructure. I'm not exactly sure where that gentleman sent that message from, but if you can reach somebody with a radio on a tri-mode station, tri-mode has the ability to where if the tri-mode loses connection to the internet, if it loses a direct connection to a CMS server, it switches into a relay mode. So what will happen is if you connect to my station, for example, using packet, or in fact you can telnet if you know the IP address, connect to my station, and my station realizes that there is no internet. What it's going to do is it's going to start calling out on its own. It's going to reach out. Previously, this was only available through Pactor. With the new versions, it's now available through RDOP. It will reach out through RDOP and try to find other tri-mode stations. It maintains a database of those while the internet's up and running. It reaches out and tries to find another station that currently has a working CMS connection. So what will happen is, as long as I have power at my house, and say I have no internet whatsoever, and I've got some batteries, and I've got poor Victoria out there on the treadmill running as fast as she can to generate squirrel power, we've got the radios running. If you're able to connect to me through packet, my station can reach out through HF over RDOF and try to find another station, and it has a minimum distance setting to where I believe mine is set to 500 kilometers. It's not going to try to find anybody closer than 500 kilometers. It's going to try to reach out, generally something near Canada or way down in Mexico, just because of the way my antennas are oriented, and take that message and relay it through HF to that station, and that station will deliver it to the CMS for you. So as long as somewhere on the globe the internet is still up, we should be able to relay the message. The RMS stations, the tri-mode stations, know about the status of the network from each other. So as they contact each other trying to find the next hop for your message, they get information back. Once a successful path is established, the RMS tri-mode will remember that. So the next time you connect back up and we're still in an internet down type situation, it will ask, next time it talks to that next hop, it will ask if there's any messages waiting for you on the CMS and bring a copy. It won't pull the originals off of there, but it will bring a copy of them off and hold on to them for you. So if you were to connect to me next time, 10, 15 minutes from now, I may have new messages waiting for you. And that really shows the power of what this software can do if the internet is actually down. So you've got, basically, to sum it up again, RMS tri-mode when used in relay on the local side takes packet and Vera FM, and if the internet is up, it directly delivers it to the CMS. Also on the RMS tri-mode side, if you were to receive a message over HF through Vera, RDOP, Pactor, and I've currently got my Pactor disabled because I'm having an issue with the modem, so forgive me. It will see that the internet is connected and directly pass your message to the CMS. In an emergency situation where the internet is no longer available, RMS tri-mode kicks into relay mode and will take that message and pass it to another hop somewhere else in the world that does have a connection. Let me reset and identify. This is KC5TSU for the W5NGU repeater on 14692 for the digitally speaking net. So that's the more advanced hop of tri-mode, and really shows the true power in a widespread disaster. Does anybody have any questions at this time?
KC5TSU.
Okay. Well, as I said earlier, this presentation is going to be on YouTube. Search for my call sign, KC5TSU. That's Kilo Charlie 5 Tango Sierra Uniform. There will be a video there that you can rewatch this net and follow along with. I am available on Winlink, and I'm usually on this repeater if you've got questions. We have a lot of really great Winlink resources around. We've got Winlink Wednesday, and John runs that, and we've got a lot of folks that are really, really versed in Winlink. And if you need any help setting those up, if you need any help with, I want to take the next step beyond Telnet and actually start hooking a radio up to this thing, we'll be more than happy to help you get that going. If you want to test it out, want to pass some traffic back and forth, definitely reach out to any of us. It doesn't take much effort to pass traffic with you. One of the other things, like I said, the nice things about Direwolf is that you can see what's going on in the backside. So if I was to monitor you, for example, trying to talk to the EOC, as long as I'm on the same frequency and able to receive both of you, I can actually see the packet traffic going back and forth. And that's been a great help with some diagnostics. Excuse me. Well, anyway, so time for YouTube cheesy part. If you liked the video, please like it, and if you like this stuff, please subscribe, and we'll try to bring some more of these presentations to you here in the future. And I'll go ahead and open it up for one last round of questions, and barring any questions, I'll return the net over to Lee. It's KC5TSU. TCN, I don't think they're running NetLogger today, but we've got you in the imaginary check-in list for today. All right, well, if nothing else heard, I'll turn the net back over to you, Lee. KC5TSU.
I've got to say thank you. This was amazing and enlightening. I've received a couple of different texts during your presentation, and I want to thank Dan in the colony too for pointing this out. If you could leave that up on your YouTube channel, apparently there's a number of people that want to come back and watch it again, either later today or later on at some point. So thank you for that.
Yeah, most definitely. Like I said, search for KC5TSU on YouTube, and should be the most recent one. It should say Digitally Speaking Net as the title. And I'm going to go ahead and end the YouTube stream, and it should put the final video on YouTube here in about 15 minutes.